Stratton from As Wood Turns. You may recall a bit ago I did a bud vase that was actually a sphere. It was a demo for one of the clubs that I belong to. The other club since asked me to also do a sphere demo, this one specifically is for a sphere and a bit beyond. So I like to prepare, so I prepared a sphere here that I intended to use as a backup in case all went wrong, which occasionally things do, of course. But it turned out to be too pretty to use, so with the inclusions here they actually make it quite interesting. So I went on and did it another way, but in effect for this, let's turn a sphere. Let's decorate it with some beads. Actually a fairly simple process once you get the orientation right. And then let's hollow it so that we have something beyond a simple sphere, although this one's nice, that can be decorated many ways. This sort of thing is the basis for many things that I do to a sphere, and so let's do this part right now.
I'm starting with a cylinder of dry poplar that is freshly rough turned. Now I need to cut a semi-final smooth surface. I will go quickly through the sphere turning process, and refer you to my previous videos that detail the process. Now measure for the diameter. I use the calipers as a sight window to decide where on the cylinder I want my sphere to come from. Then mark the line and part outside the line while endeavoring to make the cut perpendicular to the axis. I also waste away all wood outside the line. Now that one end has been fixed, I measure for the opposite or head end. I held off from finalizing this end in case I needed more wood to trim on the tail end. Again, cut perpendicular and waste away the excess wood. Next, the octagon calculations. Diameter times 0.293 for the distance from the cylinder end to a corner of the octagon, and diameter times 0.414 for the length of each side of the octagon. I mark the corner lines and check the difference between the lines, which should be the same as the octagon side length. Now that calipers are set to this length, I also mark the ends of the cylinder. If I did not waste away enough wood, I can trim a little more now. Next, trim the diagonals for the octagon. After each is properly trimmed, I waste away more of the nub around the turning axis. Then mark the half of each side and mark the half again. Then cut each corner again, forming a decahexagon. Then proceed to round off the sphere by eye. The octagon method has done its job, that of guiding me to an approximate sphere. Finally, trim back the nubs, leaving them a bit long to avoid a chance of breaking off any fibers inside the sphere. Next come the refinement portion of the standard process. I'll go quickly through this essential but somewhat boring part of the demonstration. At least 3 rotations cutting with lathe tools. Again, please see my other more detailed videos. Followed by at least 3 rotations with 80 grit sandpaper, 3 rotations with 120 grit sandpaper, 3 rotations with 180 grit sandpaper, 3 rotations with 240 grit sandpaper, 3 rotations with 320 grit sandpaper, and 3 rotations with 400 grit sandpaper. Whew! All the sanding I did with my utility finish of beeswax and mineral oil. My last rotation is with a paper towel for a bit of a polish. Now for some utility marking. One at the base next to the headstock. This will help me realign. One at the live center end. This will also help me realign. And one just a bit in from the live center end. This will help align my coves that I will cut next. Let's call this the bead mark. But no exact measurements here. It's by eye. Previously, I marked 3 divisions on my cup chuck. There are many ways of doing this. My way was to mount my cup faceplate in my Vic Mark chuck and use the chuck markings to make the divisions. Now I can align each mark to the tool rest and extend it across the sphere surface. Now for the fun part. After aligning the sphere division to the cup faceplate division, I rotate the sphere so that the cove mark is now marking my bead offset. Using a cove tool, mine is from D-Way, I cut 3 beads, making sure I cut into the previous marks and graze the top of the bead. This leaves a groove outside my trio of beads. Using my skew, I cut a half bead on each side of the trio of beads. Now for the tricky part. It helps me to rotate the sphere back to its previous position. Then, similarly to the previous set, I rotate the sphere so that the second third division is at the third mark of the cup faceplate. Then rotate the sphere so that the cove line marks my next bead offset. Then, as before, cut 3 beads and 2 half beads. Now the third set of 3 beads. I'm using a regular pattern for my beads, this time. Your choice may be another number of random beads. It's a matter of personal taste. Finally, I mount the sphere in my DIY donut chuck, but the end mark that I made earlier around aligns my sphere back in place before I cinch up the bolts for the donut chuck. Now I choose to drill the initial hole with a Forstner bit. I prefer the Forstner bit to start because I am not sure that I'm going into end grain. There are perfectly good alternatives, however. Then proceed to hollow the sphere while still mounted in the donut chuck. To me, it is very boring to watch someone else hollow a form, so I'll speed up the video through this part. Finally, I clean up my pencil marks with sandpaper and put my utility finish on the freshly cut beads. In summary, this fun project required a perfect sphere without an expensive jig, creative use of cup faceplates, weird off-axis positioning, and hollowing with my donut chuck. I'm ready for my club demo. Meanwhile, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my website in addition to subscribing YouTube. When you subscribe to my website, I send an email when there's a new video. Please share my videos with your friends. I keep these videos short and to the point to respect your viewing time. I always appreciate your comments and questions, and please wear your full face shield whenever the lathe is running.